I'm Brian Davidson with Panoramic Investigations, a Houston-based private investigation company. And today I'm going to talk with you about the use of GPS cases under the Fourth Amendment, which is illegal search and seizure. Generally, it's looked down upon, if not an outright crime, to use a GPS to track a vehicle other than your own without written consent of the owner in the state of Texas. The penalty would be a Class A misdemeanor, which would generally result in a penalty of 6 to 12 months in jail. For me, as a private investigator, if I were to use a GPS in an unauthorized manner, that would also result in the loss of my license if I were to be caught. Let me just read to you from Chapter 16 here in Texas, Texas Penal Code, Title 4. It says, unlawful installation of a tracking device. A person commits an offense if the person knowingly installs an electronic or mechanical tracking device on a motor vehicle owned or leased by another person. An offense under this section is a Class A misdemeanor. Now, also later on in the law it says, was a private investigator licensed under Chapter 1702, so that's me, if I was a PI licensed under Chapter 1702, I would need to have written consent to install the device. So it's the installation of the device which is illegal. If I also entered private residential property, I would also need written consent to install the device. Now, let's just take a look at it from a civil liability perspective. Even if you didn't get caught, if you were to go into court and say I installed a GPS case, it would look very, very bad in a divorce case or any type of court setting if you did it to a vehicle other than your own. Jointly owned vehicles are a little bit of a gray area in that you have a spouse who owns the vehicle or the vehicle is in their name. But I wouldn't mess with it because it is... Any judge that got a hold of it would probably say that that wasn't your vehicle, even though you own the vehicle, if your spouse drives it on a daily basis. So you have to be very, very careful about that. A lot of spy shops will sell GPS units. That's fine, and the GPS units to be used in a proper manner would be to track a workforce vehicle or a vehicle of your own, maybe one that the kids are driving, how fast are they going, where are they going. And you can install real-time trackers or something called a passive tracker, which is where you pull the GPS unit off the vehicle and then install it in your computer and it downloads the data at a later date. A real-time tracker allows you to log in on the website and take a look at it wherever they're at, whenever, and it'll also keep a history of where the vehicle has been. So just so you know, it is against the law to use a GPS tracker in the state of Texas. This is also true in California and a couple of other states, and the laws are catching up with it. So you've got to be very careful. Good old-fashioned surveillance, mobile surveillance is probably the best solution to stay out of trouble with this. And anyway, Brian Davidson with Panoramic Investigations, just making you aware of the law.